Hi everyone, welcome back to WHU TV. My name is John, your host as always, and I hope you're doing well as I always do under these very, very difficult circumstances. Welcome to episode 28 of Daily Live Chat with John, the open Q&A session where I talk to you and ask you questions, and hopefully you guys will ask and answer the same sort of things. So as always, guys, let's have a look to see who's in the chat. There's only one person here so far. Sofian, hello mate, hope you're doing all right. Now, to kick things off, I'm going to start with some non-West Ham news. There's other stuff, obviously, we need to talk about in the meantime. First and foremost, the government have confirmed that they're going to start making discussions to see if they can get some pubs and restaurants open. Well, it appears that the conversations are going to be within the next week or so that they're going to start doing things. I'm really very, very grateful for this. The Daily Mail was reported straight after the announcement that this was going to be discussions next week, because obviously the press get things leaked to them before the actual government broadcast conversations. And also, for that matter to say, there is a very good chance that those that we could actually see things happening. We could get some of our lives back. We can start going to pubs again. We can start going to certain restaurants again. I mean, it's and I'm guessing the reason why they're saying that is because within London, as an example, there hasn't been any new cases of COVID-19 for the majority of this week. That's including people going back to work into their buildings. Nowhere near as much as everybody would normally be, but it's a start. It's a start. We're slowly going to be getting our lives back. Hopefully, it's still going in on course, because the government did say that they were going to be trying to do it, get some pubs and restaurants open by the beginning of July. But obviously, that's going to be open planned restaurants and open and outside pubs as well, for that matter, because we're still going to have to social distance. We're still going to have to stand 2 meters away from each other. But it's a start. It's a start. So let's have a look to see who's in. Hello, Mark. Hope you're all right, mate. Hello, Fo. Good to see you. Neil says, happy 4 weeks day. Thanks, mate. It's been literally 4 weeks every single day. It's been good. It's been good to do it. Eden Pickering. Hello, mate. Nice to see you. Tim Milliken. Hello, mate. Good to see you. Long time no see. Hope you're keeping all right, Tim. JGM as well. Hello, Gazer. Hope you're doing all right. Sofian says pubs will be crazy when they open. They can't be, because it's only going to be, as I say, it's only going to be certain open things that they're going to be. It's literally going to be open. The pub will be closed itself, but we'll probably be able to sit in the pub gardens 2 meters away from each other and that sort of thing. It's going to be interesting times. It's going to be interesting times, but it's a great step towards it, because they were saying that they were going to start, as I say, they were going to say they're going to start doing it at the beginning of July. The 4th of July, if I remember correctly. You know, quite ironic that it's Independence Day, and also that was the day that we had the Brexit vote as well, for that matter. So, yeah, it's an interesting look. Maybe that's what the thing that they were looking into. Maybe, maybe that's what they were aiming for. But I'm glad. I do feel very happy that in some form, I might not be able to get to work properly within the next 5 to 6 weeks. But it's nice to know if I want a pint, I can go and get one within reason. So it's good. It's good. Darren, hello, mate. Hope you're keeping all right. Ian, hello. Good to see you. Welcome back again. Sofian says, what's the pub garden? It's a garden outside a pub. It's literally that, where all the seats are. Where you used to run around as a nipper, I'm sure. Tim says, pubs will be crazy when football comes back. How is everyone going to police every single pub? Yeah, well, that's a good point, Nick, Tim. Very, very good point on that one, mate. It'd be very, very interesting to see what happens with that side of things. It depends if the football's ever going to be coming back as well, for that matter. I know we're all looking to try and get football back. That quite nicely, actually, brings me quite round to this article that I read with Richard Masters, the Premier League chief executive. Right, he made quite a good interesting point in this article. Once it just loads up, but yeah, I've got one. I'm going to talk about him in a little while as well. For a second, I've got a little. I just thought this. I thought it would be quite funny to do this. JGM says, I'm married, but how the hell are single people supposed to pull during this pandemic? Sofian says, it's coming back. It's coming. Football's coming back. It's coming back. It's coming back. It's coming. Football's coming back. Where is his quote here? He said, there is some momentum. We've taken the first step. It's great for everybody, including the fans, to see our players back on the training ground. Then he just a little bit more waffle. Said, discussing about relegation is a significant topic, and that will be part of the debate we have. What would happen in that environment, curtailment of the season, is something we're not yet discussing with the clubs. I can't speak for the FA, but obviously they have their own views on it. Until we've discussed it as clubs and as a collective, we can't really talk about it, which is fair enough. You know, I get the geezer's point on that one. But one thing I have noticed on this is just gonna once my computer starts behaving itself. Answers JGM's one saying, answers JGM's point saying it's once it loads it properly, online dating. But one thing I want to talk to you guys about just really quickly, all right? Because this is quite a funny thing. It only dawned on me earlier today, and I thought I want to get your guys' opinions on things. All right. Now let's just do this quickly, very quickly. Now this is the geezer I'm talking about, right? Richard Masters. Now, who in the football world does he remind you of? I'll leave this picture up for a little while longer, just so you guys can join in. But yeah, let me know who you think this guy reminds you of, because I will show you who he reminds me of in the football world. And technically, to narrow it down a little bit, he's the player I'm thinking of is ex-West Ham. Fo says Simon Cowell. I can see the link there, mate. Hello, Peter. Good. Hope you're doing all right, mate. It looks like Downing. Close. Hello, Jazz. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're keeping good. Anyone else got any guesses before I put it up? Because it's quite a remarkable picture when you think about it. Hi, Ryan. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're keeping all right. Darren says it's on the tip of his tongue. Oh, he's waiting for me to reveal it. He says Nolan. Eden says Nolan, which I can see. I can see it's the haircut and the blue eyes. I can see where you're getting that from. Mark says he reminds me of Ian Bishop with a good haircut. Yeah, not far off, mate. Eden Pickering says Parker. Scotty Parker. Hello, Neil. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're all right. Neil, the question at the moment is, who in the football West Ham world does this man remind you of? Just wait for a couple of more things to come through. We're gonna talk about we're gonna talk about it in Ngaki in a little while. But did you think Eden's got it? Defo Parker. Did you, Rymars? Did you see West Ham playing today? No, I didn't. I haven't, unfortunately. Just says Morley. Morley. Yeah, again, I can see the link. Ryan says Mark Noble. Neil says Stevie Potts. Again, I can see it. Neil says no idea. Okie dokie. Well, in that case, what I will do is I will show you who I think, and who I think is a resemblance, because I've got done a picture of both of them, and yeah, Mark says big ginge. You wait for any excuse to get a ginger reference in there, don't you, mate? But yeah, there you go. Scotty Parker and the CEO of Premier League. Wallop. Neil says Cotty. Yeah, I can see it's more to do with the haircut more than anything else, I'm guessing, from you guys. But yeah, this they do he does really remind me of Scotty Parker. I know he doesn't. Sophie says the photo you showed doesn't look like Parker. Yeah, I know, but this is the thing, because I didn't want to give the picture away because it was too obvious. But but yeah, it did make me laugh when I was reading that through. But yeah, Eden's got it completely right. It does, but I can see the similarities. Scott Parker would love him to be our manager one day in the future. But yeah, if he keeps going the way he's going with Fulham at the minute, definitely, yeah, that'd be good. Right. So yeah, I'm glad it's not just me that sees the resemblance. Ian Cook says very similar in the side by side. Yeah, but yeah, you can. That's why I gave you guys a bit of a curveball, from one point of view. Sofiane says, I wanted Parker after Pellegrini got sacked. Now, this is the interesting thing. Thanks for bringing that on to us, Sofiane, because it was yesterday was the 2-year anniversary of Pellegrini being sacked. Now, I know a lot of people have been saying that he was a bad idea, a worse idea than Avron Grant I've seen over the last couple of days. The reason why we didn't talk about it yesterday was because obviously that there were bigger things in the West Ham world to talk about. But yesterday, as I said, was Pellegrini is the 2-year anniversary of when he was appointed. Now, the thing is, Pellegrini for me is a sort of manager that is really sort of he's only as good as the players that he's got. Now that's half the problem that he had. As much as we all love the club, as much as we all love West Ham, we know full well we haven't got a squad full of worldies. We haven't. It just doesn't happen. But at the same point, he got us playing some good football. What was it, that goal that was going around? What was it? That was like 26 passes or something stupid before we scored. One of the home games. I can't remember what the game is now myself, but that video did go around quite a fair bit. The replay on Match of the Day. We did have a good spell under Pellegrini. It's just the fact that it was too much background fighting, as there always is. With the Arnautovic situation and the stuff with, and other little bits and pieces, and the weird stuff that was going on with Declan Rice's contract at the time and all that sort of stuff. It was difficult. It was very, very difficult. JGM says, I'd be well happy with Parker as manager. Sofian says, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would write our era under Pellegrini as a 3. Well, it's not really long enough to be an era, mate, but I know what you mean. Yeah. I mean, it's below average. Yeah, I agree. It is a blower. It does unfortunately deserve a below average score. It just seemed like he wanted to buy his best mates from Malaga and his other old clubs. And also when it started to go wrong towards the end, he just didn't care, it seemed. Yeah, agreed. He did. I did say when he was looking very dishevelled, and it looked like he'd given up. Fo says, did anyone see the Pochettino interview on Sky Sports? He said he will consider all offers and would be open to a mid-table team to build up. Thank you, mate. Boom Shankar. That's exactly the next topic I want to talk about, because I did see it, and then quite a few other people did, and I'll read you guys a very, very interesting quote that's out of that. JGM says mid-table. That's us out then. Mark says we were flying under Pellegrini. up till until the Oxford match. Then it all went to bollocks. Or I'm guessing all the shit. It's one of the two out of that. But yeah, it's a very, very interesting quote from Pellegrini, because we have mentioned him before. We did talk about him as a potential replacement, as in you and I and everybody else over the last few weeks. Pochettino said the most important thing is we are ready, we are open to listen and see what happens. He's talking about him and his agent. I love England. My idea is to keep living in London, but at the same time, I'm open to different countries to listen and see what happens. In the end, we are waiting for a new offer and we are capable of providing what a club expects from us. We are going to be very happy. Then the important thing is like what happened at Tottenham, that we create a unique philosophy together. I really, really like that. I don't think too much about that having a big transfer budget. For me, it is about the human capital, that you need to stick with us. After all that is possible, you can deal with everything. We are going to talk about budgets or money. If we are going to talk about budgets or money, football is not about that. Of course, it helps, but when you start to work towards your objectives, you need to be clever in the way that you are going to sign this. If you want to win the Champions League and Premier League, or at least be competitive, you need to be creative, clever, and assign a philosophy that is different to others. The problem is which club are top six. It always changes. Today, Tottenham and Arsenal are not in the top six, so you need to respect all the clubs. They are all working so hard, investing and spending money. They all assign a new strategy each season to reach the top four, top six, or top eight. You cannot underestimate any person, any institute, or any club. That is why the Premier League is one of the toughest. All the clubs have the capacity to find a way to be competitive. Now, I really, really like that. That's an absolutely blinding thing about it. I've said many, many times that I'd like Pochettino as a manager at West Ham. He really, really built a very, very good basis at Southampton. He was trying to do the same thing at Spurs, and it worked to a degree. He's a team building manager, as AJ and I have talked about, which has been linked to Newcastle. Him saying that he'd ideally like to live in London or abroad, kind of is in a way he's kind of ruling himself out of that. But that's the thing. I honestly think that he's I think it'd be a good shout. It's obviously been confirmed by the club that David Moyes is going absolutely nowhere for the next year or so, basically for the 18 months of his contract, by the looks of it. Would you guys want to have Pochettino at the helm? Because I certainly wouldn't reject that straight. I'd be very happy if he came in. Jazz says it's pretty stupid if the main criteria for the West Ham job is that they played for the club. That's plain stupid by the way of looking at it. Not necessarily, mate. Not necessarily. I know what you mean, but he was, Parker's motivational skills are legendary and quite well documented. I know what you mean, but there's a little bit bigger to it. Hi, Andy. Hope you're doing all right, mate. Fo says I agree with Jazz, but it's the romantic in us. Yeah. Gary, hello, mate. Says we don't want top scum rejects. Poch is going to Newcastle. Well, not after that statement, I don't think. Pochettino isn't a reject. Most Tottenham fans loved him and think he shouldn't have gone. Mark says, I'd love Poch at West Ham. So would my missus. She fancies him. Ryan says, imagining if Mourinho was our manager. Oh, it'll be interesting. I don't think he's like Pellegrini. I don't think he can cope with average players, mate. I think. Sofian, I think Pochettino will never come to us. He said he would rather work on a farm than go to Arsenal. So why would he want to come to us too? They don't like us. Well, he hasn't ruled himself out of anything. He said he wants to continue living in London, so that makes the criteria very, very short. Chelsea, Arsenal. Still, he still could do a job at Arsenal. Us, Fulham, Leyton Orient. Crystal Palace, Millwank as well, for that matter. You know, anything's possible. Absolutely anything's possible. Ian says Poch has said he has unfinished business at Spurs and would love to return at some point. If his allegiance to them is so great, would his heart be in it elsewhere? Very good point there, Ian. Very good point. I mean, all managers have got unfinished business to a certain degree. That's why Mourinho went back to Chelsea, because he wanted to try and fix a few things. And he says he's done a great job in the Premier League. Agreed, he has. Mate, he won the Champions League with Porto. He can build a team. To be honest, I'm talking about Mourinho. He can, but the two different leagues, mate. But he's not that manager anymore. He just wants to bring in the superstars. He's done it all his career. Unfortunately. Jay makes a good point. Hello, mate. We couldn't afford Poch. Sofian says Poch is a loyal man. He refused the Barcelona job as he is an Espanyol man. Also, the reason why he refused the Barcelona job was that's right. That was different circumstances. But basically, his gardening leave from Spurs is up today, which is why that interview came out today, or yesterday, I think it was. Because that's what he was saying. That's why Gary says Big Sam will go to Newcastle. Olu, hello, mate. Hang on, sorry. Good to see you again, fella. Nice to see you back. JP, do you like VAR in Premier League football? I think the technology is a fantastic idea. It's just how it's being used is nearer the point. That's where things need to be worked out. Where things need to be worked out completely. Fo says, I'd love Pochettino, but there's no chance. And to be honest, Golf Sullivan and Brady won't pay off Moyes. Yeah, that's a good point, mate. It's a good point. That's what I'm saying. We're not going to see him any time soon. Ryan said, I would also like to see James Collins back at some point in the coaching role. I'm sure he would love it. I'm sure if they asked him to do it, he'd jump at the chance. He said many times. That he'd misses West Ham. Well, he misses playing football anyway, but he misses the club. You know, he does love the place. He finished second behind Man City with Phil Jones and Chris Smalling. Mourinho is the greatest of all time. Oh dear. That's a good point, Saif. That's a good point. Gary Page says, "What do you think of us losing our youth players?" We did talk about this yesterday, and there's a bit more we're going to talk about it. But it does worry me, mate. It really, really does worry me that we've got 4 academy graduates as it stands at the moment. Well, 3 because it looks like Chester's may have signed an improved deal. So Chester's was one of the first players to reject a new contract. He's been given a new contract, and it looks like he's going to be signing it. So I'm hoping that we see the likes of Vernon Peters and Ngakia, and there's another guy in there as well. Hopefully those guys, because let's not forget, right? With Ngakia and those guys, their contracts don't run out until the end of June. So there's 5 weeks that the board and the staff and everything can come together and try and figure stuff out. But let's talk about it, because I said that I'd do a little bit more digging into the Ngakia thing, because obviously this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the story. Now there's as usual there's a few conflicting reports over everything, but at the same point, guys, it's interesting to find out what's going on. Now, as we all know, Ngakia was currently on a scholarship wage, which is about $1,000 a week, if I remember correctly. He was offered to be on a basic wage of $5,000 a week, rising after 15 to 20 games, plus 10 to 15 grand per appearance bonuses. Now, I don't think that's bad, to be honest with you. I really, really don't think that's bad. Let's face it. He's played a handful of games. 3, 4 for the senior team. He's still got to prove himself. It's an improved contract. You know, he's got 500% pay increase plus bonuses. Be interesting to see if there's any assists in there as well. Now, apparently Ngakia's agent said that they want 20 grand a week for a 19-year-old player. I think 19, 20 years old. That's extortionate. So let's not forget that Rice was on a very similar contract to what he was offered when he broke through. Because I don't think Ngakia's actually been offered as, I might be wrong, but Ngakia was offered a pro, hasn't been pro contract yet. As I say, let's not forget that his contract runs out in 4 or 5 weeks' time. There's plenty of time for it to be renegotiated. And he's talking about Poch's garden leaf shit. He must have a massive garden. Sofian said, I agree with you on what you said when you stated next season's about youth. It's going to be about youth for a lot of things. For a lot of teams, I should say. It's going to be about youth for a lot of teams. Olu says it was sad seeing James Collins the way how he left. He deserves greater than that. He was loyal and good. Agreed, mate. Yeah, I mean it was basic release way, unfortunately, but absolutely. Eden says it's the modern way. Agents have too much power. Ian says I don't agree with the club leaking Ngakia deal to WHU. That's a very good point, Ian, because a lot of people were kicking up a fuss about the offer that Declan Rice rejected a couple of years ago as well, and now we're doing exactly the same thing. As Gio said in the video a little while back, the media have played the fan base, and I'm including myself in this. The media have played, the club have played the fan base to turn them on Ngakia. And that's the interesting thing. Mark says I wouldn't mind a 20 grand a week myself. Absolutely, mate. Ryan also they will keep Moyes' assistants. Olu says with football players being thief from a lot, it was not wise of Gold to leak Ngakia's wages. It was Sullivan, but yes, I know what you mean. He's a kid, and it isn't safe today. Agreed. They shouldn't have been saying what. Because Ollie, you make a very, very good point there, mate. Intended or not, if it gets reported in the next few weeks and Ngakia has signed a new deal, it's that 5 grand a week plus 15 grand appearance bonuses. That's the thing. That's the thing. That's. But you're right. It's not the right time to say that sort of stuff. Mark says our club is still running like a circus. Agreed, 100%. Fo says the club are trying to deflect their inadequacies. There is a lot, yep, and playing the blame game, divide and conquer, which they've always done. Always done. Sofian's opinion is Ngakia can't be asking for more money after 3 games. To be honest, he's not even established as a first team player. That's the point. Him and his agent, well, more specifically, his agent thinks he is an established player because he's had a run of games. And yeah, so that's half the problem. Sofian says Rice was on peanuts for over a year, didn't fuss, waited and proved himself. It looks where he is now. Good things come to those who wait. Agreed, Sofian, but he argued a couple of contracts. That's why it was released a couple of years ago to say that this is the offer we've given him and he hasn't signed it. Now we'll as a fan base, when Rice's contract information was leaked, we'll band it together and say, why are you telling us this? I did the same thing. I said I don't want to know what he's on. I'm not that nosy. I don't know what Ngakia is on. I don't care about what Ngakia is on. But to go into that level of detail, it's divide and conquer, as you're saying, completely. Sofian's quoting Noble. This ain't run like a circus anymore. this club ain't run. Yeah, that was the last season of the bowling. We were all hoping that was going to run 4 years down the line, be exactly the same thing, but it went back to normal 2 years later. Darren says, yes, Mark, on lockdown, but the circus is open. Sofian says, I think he rejected a contract, so the club offer him more, to be honest, just mind games. Very possible, mate. Very possible. But like I was saying, that they wanted 20 grand a week. He's not. If he signs for 5 grand a week and plays, he gets his 20 grand. It's not that much of an argument. But to be on £1,000 a week, to be given 500% increase to £5,000 a week, yeah, I'm concerned about that. Ian says the last thing we want is a Reece Oxford, though. Agreed, 100%. We've been stung so many times. But again, as Gio said in his video that came out this morning, I think it was. Yeah, it was this morning. You've got to take a gamble. Football's all about gamble, about making a gamble, risking this player. Is he going to work? Is that going to work? You know, I miss Andy Carroll, not him specifically, because obviously, but reading reports about some people's opinions on his hat trick against Arsenal 4 years ago now. It was just Carroll is the sort of striker that we need. He's 100% the sort of striker that we need. We need somebody who's going to be there for the rebounds, exactly as he was in that Arsenal home game. And I've been screaming out for a striker like that for a long, long time. And Sofian disagrees with what Ian says. The guy screams of Reece Oxford, to be honest. But it's just money. It's his agent. Defoe is money. Agent. Reece Oxford. A little bit arrogant saying that he wasn't going to be able to progress with West Ham. Yes and no. It's what the people are telling you in your ear. Honestly, mate. The way that I like to look at it is you got two birds talking to you, right? You got one bird says, "I think you're terrific. I think you're gorgeous. I think you're sexy." Blah blah blah. And you got one that says, "I really like you. I really like you, but I don't really see us going much further than 5 or 6 years." Which one are you going to go to? You're going to go to the bird that says you're gorgeous, you're sexy, you're funny, you can't, do you know what I mean? And that's exactly what's happened in this instance. He's listened to his agent over common sense, rather than looking at the bigger picture. Now, as I say, we got 5 or 6 weeks before his contract runs out. 4 or 5 weeks, I should say, before his contract runs out. So we'll have to wait and see because I wouldn't be, as I said earlier, Chester's has been given a new contract, an improved contract. Even though reports are coming out saying that everybody at the club has been felt let down by Ngakia for going the route that he was. I wouldn't be at all surprised if they still offer him something slightly better. Maybe 7 or 8 grand, maybe 9 or 10 grand a week with 10 grand bonus for starting, that sort of thing. They won't stretch anything further than that 20 grand all in. Mark says, "I'm lucky if I can get one bird to talk to me." Jojo says, "Fellaini looking for a contract." He is, by the way. He is technically a free agent now, from what I understand. Now, Ryan Fredericks has come out saying that now that players are back training, they are feeling a little bit more relaxed about Project Restart. Some of them are still not going to be happy. I mean, he's only talking about the people that he talks to inside West Ham and probably outside West Ham. He's probably got a few mates. He's probably still speaking to a few people at Fulham. He probably, I think you might know a few people at Crystal Palace as well, if I remember correctly. But yeah, it was a good thing. It was a good thing seeing him say that, because that's what we're worried about. Is we're worried about how the players are feeling at the end of the day. Let's not mix our words about this. We are worried about how the players feel about playing in this scenario, and it's a good thing to see what he's come out with, to say that we are feeling better. We are, it's good. And I'm sure, Ryan, as you watched earlier, watched the video of them training, I'm sure a lot of them were looking a lot more relaxed as usual, because they're getting back into it. They've been training for pretty much most of the week now with each other, so it'd be interesting to do that, to see that sort of thing, to see people's reactions on it. Jaz says, "Anyone seen the Russ Green training video? Sanchez looks sharp." He would be. He's been sitting out for 6 months. Andy Wall says, "It annoys me a bit about not giving him a little bit more money, as seen as we chuck it away with the likes of Sanchez and Wilshere. Yeah, agreed. But this is the thing, mate. They're trying to put caps on things because obviously next season money's going to be exceptionally tight. And as Gio's been saying, as Gonzo's been saying, I'm sure Nicky and Ryan and those guys said last night as well. I haven't watched West Ham Fan TV's video yet, but I'm sure that they're all going to be saying roughly the same thing. That there's not going to be a lot of money, so we're trying to try and not leak money as much as possible. I mean, obviously with Zabaleta and Sanchez leaving, that frees us up 120, 130 grand a week. So that's obviously going to be in that's obviously going to be stuck in somewhere else. But yeah, it is. It's but that's all footballers care about, Andy, mate. That's all the people. I mean, let's be honest. We care about money as well. If we could get more money somewhere at a different job, we do it. We do it every other year. People will move on saying, right, I need to look this way. All right, we'll give you an extra 2 or 3 grand more. That's what happens. Mark says maybe Sanchez plays better when no one's watching. Give you our secret weapon. Good point. Sophin says Sanchez playing like a prime Makalele. I'm hearing. I'll have to watch those videos. Said until he plays a proper game, then reverts back to shit. Probably, very, very possible. Darren Higgins, I'm struggling with Project Get Off My Lazy Ass. Neil Ross says Winston Reid running down his contract once, and then he signed a contract. Yeah, he did. He was very, very close to becoming a free agent. And they offered him a new one, which I think is actually the current one that expires next season, if I remember right. Sofian says the streets won't forget Winston Reid. Yeah, Barking Road certainly ain't, and Green Street certainly ain't going to forget Winston Reid, because those roads were just mental, just absolutely mental. That was a brilliant night. That really, really was. And I'm still to this day haven't watched anything about the last game of the season. Really haven't. Okay, and final one to talk about. So again, guys, get your questions in. With just over 20 minutes to go. Michail Antonio has £25 million price tag on his head, apparently. As we know, his contract runs out at the end of June next year. Would you offer Michail a new contract? I mean, personally, I would. I know he's 29, 30 years old, but he's still got a good few years left in him. I really, really think it. I think he's still as annoying as Michail Antonio can be, and he's annoyed me a lot, and he's not annoyed a lot of people. He's annoyed a lot of people over the last few years. Then but I would certainly give him a new deal. I really, really would, because we need to keep hold of players like that as much as we possibly can. We seriously need to keep someone like Michail Antonio at the club for as long as physically, and I mean literally physically possible. Once his body breaks down, which is to a degree it's starting to at the moment because his hamstrings are going and whatnot. But Mark says yes, we're a better side when Antonio plays. Ian says definitely give Antonio a new contract. He's one of the few players with a passion for the club. Good argument, Ian, that the fact that he's British. You name anybody that's not a British player that has a real spark for the club. It's not many, because the British players know what the Premier League's all about. These foreign players just see it as a payday, unfortunately. Gary said at the end of the season I would, but we ain't got no money, so at the moment for big increases. It doesn't have to be big. I mean, as it was said yesterday, there's a very good chance we're not going to see a stadium ourselves for another 12 months. So maybe if we sell players like we're looking to, like for example, possibly Yarmolenko, possibly Anderson, probably Jack Wilshere as well, for that matter. Maybe I've seen a lot of reports recently that A lot of reports saying that Issa Diop could be off as well. Sophie says, mate, I've got to go, unfortunately. Bye-bye. Everyone take care. Good night, mate. Enjoy your dinner. Eden says he provides energy to the team. Agreed. Yeah, says between Antonio and Bowen will stay up. I bloody hope so, mate. I really, really do hope so. But as you know, as I say, for these sort of things, it's really, really tricky to keep keep a good idea of who we can say. But as I say, who we can keep. But as I say, Issa Diop could be going off. You know, our Homer of the Year, Ogbonna, is 32. Yesterday or today's one of the two. So, Oggy, if you're watching, happy birthday, mate. But you know, it's just it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing that we're in the situation that we are at the best of times. But as I say, with Mikey, it's yeah, I would keep him as much as possible. Fo says a bit harsh, a lot of bit harsh JP. A lot of foreign players get it. Di Canio did, so does Ludo, Shaka, Fabianski, or Bonner, etc. Yeah, but I didn't say there wasn't any of them. I said not many. There's not many. But as you say, you're listing off players that and half of those aren't at the club anymore. That's what I'm saying. I'm talking about now because the football's changed since his lot days, since the Ludo days, since the Canio days. But yeah, I said there's not many. I didn't say there wasn't any of them. I said there's not many. Gary Page says, will be interesting if we see the players that don't want to play at the moment in future training videos. Not sure Noble weren't in the first video. That's a good point. That is a very, very, very good point. As I said, I'll have to watch the training video to see who's about. Now that I've got my projector working, got me. See if I can bring this over. See if you guys can see this. Oop. Take the big ass plug out. That might make it a bit easier. There. Nice little cinema projector here. It's a very, very good one, actually. I really do like it. It's very entertaining. I've almost got everything set up. As I tweeted earlier today, for those that are following the channel on Twitter, if you're not, links in the description. So get following, guys. I did say that steps are coming on nicely for the watch-alongs, because it's not going to be far off. It's not going to be far off. I've got a massive screen up there as well, for that matter. It's 100-inch. Oh, honestly, man, it was a bargain buying this. I mean, the screen isn't exactly a screen. It's 100 inches worth of basically knitting. But you know, it's like tights. You can see right through it. It's ridiculous. But it's going to help. It's going to help. Andy Walsh says groups of 5, isn't it? Yeah, it's 5-a-side training from what I understand of it. Ian likes the look of the projector. Thanks, mate. Martin says, what's the beer tonight? I'm on the Corona because no one else is buying it. Well, it's not beers, mate. Before we went live, I was drinking this, which, let me see if you can see that up there. It's Vocation Brewery and Yeasty Boys. It's Breakfast Club Maple and Blueberry Breakfast Stout. Got it through Beer 52, that company that Dave talks about on the West Ham Way podcast. But I finished that. Really nice, by the way. Really, really nice. And this is what I'm currently drinking. Hang on, see if I can get it the right way up so you guys can read it. There you go. Kai Juice, American Pale Ale, 4.8%. Very nice. Very nice. Slipping down nicely. And after we finish in a quarter of an hour's time, I will be drinking this Dogma's Hop to Pod IPA, 6.5%. It's a really, really good idea. Darren says, just keep the volume down, John. This little baby's not, it was being played earlier, but it's not going to be played anytime soon for you guys, unfortunately, because we've had a couple of subscribers leave, which is a sad thing. I understand it because I've had a message from a good friend of mine who says that I overstepped the mark a little bit with a couple of things last night. So that's fine. I've taken his criticism on board. Mark English says, looks nice. They are nice. Honestly, go to beer52.com. It really, really is a good website. I'm not sponsored by them in any shape or form, but try it. It's really good. Gary says, missed the X bit on their show. Not sure why they've stopped doing it. The reason why they're not doing it, Gary, says there's nothing to talk about. Next week, but the last couple of episodes they've done, and they've had guests on, so that's probably why not, to be honest with you. But I've got a funny feeling next week X is going to be talking quite a fair bit. Mark says 6.5% rocket fuel. This one was 6.9. So yeah, but honestly, check them out. Check beer52.com out. Well, in actual fact, to give the West Ham Way their commission, if I remember correctly, it's beer52.com/west, and get them sign up for the trial on that. Really, really good. I was just say, if you do that, you get 8 beers, and a little magazine to read. Where is it? I don't think I've got it anywhere around it. No, but it's all about how the companies that they're in the box that you get delivered. It's all about how they got started and how they do things. It's really quite interesting to read. I mean, it's the same sort of thing of every single article, but it's good, and you get a little snack to go with it as well. The promo stuff is 8 beers for 12 quid, and then it goes up to the normal price of 8 beers for 24. So, I got these delivered yesterday, and I'm pretty much just over halfway through it. But it's definitely worth getting it. So, guys, we're almost just over 10 minutes left in. Is there anything that you guys want to talk about? Because there's nothing coming out really at the moment. Mark says, I thought I'd be getting 52 beers. It'd be nice. 52 beers a month, mate. I'd take that any day of the week. Ian Cook says he's subscribed to Beer 52 for a while, but I'm not really an ale drinker, so now it's just boring lager for me. I mean, I'm not really, to be honest, I know what you mean, mate. I'm not an ale drinker, but say we've got, I mean, this Yeasty Boys is stout. And they do, if you like stout, it's, I mean, I just like it just to try different things. I mean, because I'm definitely going to go back and get a few of these. Hopefully, I mean, because I say hopefully in this, because this is the size you normally get, right? So little Coke style, but this is a proper. Any crazy stories to share? That's quite a few, mate. From my back when I was a youngster, you know, here we go. Yeah. So, what would you change? What would you like to change about the London Stadium, but you can't knock it down? You have to, just redesign it properly. Just redesign it. That's all it needs. Just really subtle changes on it. Really subtle changes. What was the name of the band you were in? I can't remember the name of the second band because I wasn't in them for long. But the first band I was in, where I started writing songs and stuff, was a band called Delphi, Delphy, which didn't last very long. Well, it lasted a fair bit. We got recording studio session done. We did three. We did where are we? We did 1, 2, 3, 4 songs. Hang on, was it? It was Aquatonic, Time. Yeah, 3 songs done in 2 days, I think. 3 or 4 songs done in 2 days. Good fun. Really good laugh. Really good laugh. Any crazy stories to share? There's quite a few, actually, mate. I mean, nothing nothing really that crazy, because I always used to have a bit of a laugh as when I was younger, when I was in my late teens, my early 20s. We used to have quite a good fun. But we had the story's just more like anything else. I mean, we had never nothing like what Nicky said on West Ham Fan TV. I've never ever been that drunk. I mean, I can drink, I can seriously drink, but I always remember what I'm doing. I've never passed out drinking, never once, with exception of Stoke away, last game of the season, of the bowling season. Me and a few mates, we went up there on the Saturday night. The Saturday morning, I should say. We ended up there in the afternoon, and we spent we did a pub crawl of Stoke, including a really, really nice pub, little bar thing where you get this little wooden paddle, right, of glasses about that big, I should imagine. Yeah, it's probably about that big, where you get different tastes of ciders, right, from the usual stuff up until there was not like 8 or 9%, and you get little drinks like that. We were drinking that I did that really. Like, I love cider. I'm a big cider fan, and we did that once. We did that. I did all 4 of them, and I thought, yeah, all right, yeah, it was good. And then I remember we ended up in a club somewhere in Stoke. It was about 11, maybe 12, probably about 12, just gone 12, I think. I was out of my trolley. I was completely gone. And I remember trying to kiss the woman on the cash till's hand, the back of her hand, because she was gorgeous. That girl really was gorgeous. She wasn't having any of it. We're having a bit of a laugh in the club and stuff. Nothing stupid. And then I remember saying to my mates, I'm just going to the toilet. Right. Next thing I know, I hear a knock on the door. So I think, all right, well, I've fallen asleep in the toilet. That's happened a few times when I've been really drunk, and it wasn't. I was back in the hotel, so I don't remember leaving that club. I don't know what happened that night at all. After that morning, I should say, I have no idea. It's my mate Dave knocking on the door. Opened the door. He wasn't even wearing any trousers. Like 6 o'clock in the morning. Said I've been locked out of my room. So he came in and he called. He got reception to sort his day out. So I say this was the last day of the season, of the last season at the bowling, right? And we woke up and it's like 6:30 in the morning. So I went back to sleep after my body remembering that I'd been drinking, shall we say, for throwing up all over the bloody place. And then I was hanging the whole day. I met my mates down at the reception, and because there's 2 Daves I went to the game with, and I went down to the reception, hanging like this. I was like an old man, like that. It was like that, and and I turned to Dave and I said, mate, I'm shy 20 quid. I've lost 20 quid somewhere. He said, no, you haven't lost it. I said, well, what do you mean? I said, so you pay for the cab back. I said, all right, fair enough. I don't remember that whatsoever. They said, we know you don't. I said, well, what do you mean? Because you said that you gave the geezer a 20 and said, keep the change. It's fine. All right. And the cab trip only cost a tenner. So I gave that guy 100% tip and said, we knew you were pissed, mate, because you never normally do anything that generous. But I've got a lot of over. I mean, even though this broadcast is over 18s, he won't be by the time we're done. But JGM, no TV thrown out of windows, mate. It was never a rock and roll tour. I mean, I've got quite a few funny stories about stuff we used to do. Me and my mates down at Brighton Beach at 2 o'clock in the morning having drinks and whatnot. But it was, yeah, Yes, the 2006 Cup final, mate. That was repeated on the BBC's FA Cup final classics. I'm very, very glad it was short highlights. Oh, that was awful watching it. It really, really was bad. But guys, anything else you want to talk about before we wrap this up? It looks like this channel is destined not to get to 1600. It's just not happening. It's just not happening. So if no one else is going to talk anything, because there's 13 people, we're losing people, so I'm guessing people are clocking off because there's nothing else really to talk about. So unless anyone wants to talk about anything, we'll actually finish it off here. Yeah, because there's nothing really going on in the news world either, for that matter. So yeah, looks like everyone's. Anything you guys want to talk about for the next 4 minutes, or should we wrap this up? Because we haven't had any comments or anything for the last 3 minutes. No, okay, right. Well, guys, thank you very much for watching. JJM, nice. Thanks for your time. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, fella. And you, Jay. Good to see you again, mate. No new subscribers. Nope, not a thing. We've had 3 people leave over the last 24 hours, but that's it. No one's come back in. Ian says, I think you should do a song every stream until you reach 1600. Well, do you know what, mate? I know you're laughing about that, but I'm working on a new tune, and so I might as well just play you guys out. Let me know what you think. So let me just back this table up a little bit. Oh, apologies for the sound quality. Just get some space on it. So it's just a tune I've been working on, and which I dedicate to the memory of Robin Williams, because I was watching stuff on YouTube, and he there's no singing, Ian. There's no singing. It's just acoustic. It's just instrumental. But I say this is for Robin Williams. Going on around in that sort of cycle. But Mark, glad you enjoyed it, mate. Thanks very much. So yeah, there you go. So guys, we're up to the hour now. So I've just been working on it. It's just a little instrumental thing I've been mucking around with. And Nick, late to the party as always. Fo, what did you say that was perceived as offensive yesterday, John? It wasn't offensive. It's just the fact that a very, very good friend that I respect a lot mentioned about me asking people to improve on what they were saying yesterday, because like words missing and spelling and stuff, and it was because it was difficult to understand what the conversation was going on. I knew what was going on. I just but apparently I need to wrap that in a little bit, which is understandable to a degree, because there are a lot of people that get offended if you're honest, quite frankly. But guys, thank you. Mark says I put lyrics to that, but I want 50%. We'll talk about that, sunshine. But guys, thank you very much for your time. As always, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you do like it and you're new around here and you'd like to know more, then by all means, please do consider subscribing. If you do subscribe, then please do hit the notification bell. As always, guys, please, if you like the video, please hit the like button. And also, please share this content with anybody that you feel may want to watch it that isn't aware of the channel, because I really, really do, not just because of the numbers, but I really do want us to get to that 1,600 subscriber count, because I've got a really, really good gig planned for you guys. I've been working on it for the last 3 to 4 weeks now. Well, no, that's not a lie. It's a lie. It's the last 2 to 3 weeks, and I've got some really good tunes here for you guys. So I really do hope we can get to that level. I really do, because it'd be a shame not to do it. It'd be a real shame not to do it. But yeah, Fo, I didn't call you thick. It was close to it, but it wasn't that. But yeah, I know you took it in jest. That's cool, which I did mention to my friend. But yeah, as I say, guys, look after yourselves and enjoy the rest of your Saturday night. I'm going to literally plug this projector in and watch a movie on my big projection screen now. Never ever thought I'd ever say that. But guys, thanks very much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you tomorrow evening at 6:30.